This week on Vaticano, discover with us the charism of a French saint who dedicated his life to those most in need and inspired hundreds of thousands of people across the world to do the same. Today, they're known simply as the Vincentian Family. We'll take you into the field in Rome to show you just some of the good works the followers of Saint Vincent de Paul are carrying out for the community. For this and more, Vaticano starts now. In early 2020, groups inspired by the charism of Saint Vincent de Paul met together at Rome's Augustinian Patristic Institute next to St. Peter's Square. It was an historic moment for the Vincentian family, a first. These superiors general have long shared the same mission, but had never actually all convened in a joint meeting like this one. United by their drive to evangelize and serve the most needy.
What is very useful, very important is that we work in collaboration, organized with, you can say, a center that kind of links all the different branches, all the different congregations together.
Warmest greetings to all those branches of the Vincentian family.
Religious members, such as priests, brothers and sisters, and lay volunteers, all from the Vincentian family, following in the footsteps of the 17th century French priest. Today, there are more than 150 entities inspired by St. Vincent on 6 continents.
Congregations present and served.
The truth is, they don't actually know how many different Vincentian realities there are in the world. That was one of the reasons they came together, to make a census and to form one united movement under a single umbrella.
Some congregations, some lay groups that I also first time that I meet and that we meet each other, and this is a very important point. If you are out there who follow the Vincent, you are attracted, you are inspired by the life of St. Vincent, by his spirituality, by his charism, contact us, write to us here to Rome.
Recently, the Vincentian family celebrated the 400th anniversary of the founding of St. Vincent's first community, the Congregation for the Mission. Today and together, the many realities inspired by this saint continue to evangelize in his way. The Vincentian family is a reality that was born from the experience of Saint Vincent de Paul, a 17th century French priest who dedicated his life to the service and the spiritual care of the poor.
Saint Vincent de Paul was born in 1581 and died in 1660. He was born in southern France, near the present city of Dax. Now it's called the birthplace of Saint Vincent de Paul, Le Berceau de Saint Vincent de Paul. And his family was a peasant family, but they tried to educate their child well so that he could move out of poverty himself. And so Vincent was bright, went to school, and kind of escaped from his village. He was ordained a priest when he was about 20 years of age. He disappeared for a few years and made a trip to Rome. And while he was traveling, he wrote later on that he was captured by a group of pirates, was taken to northern Africa, where he lived as a slave for 2 years. Eventually, he had a good relationship with the family that he lived with, and eventually he escaped from there, made his way back to Europe, and then gradually went up to Paris, where he got a rather good job working as a the person who gave alms, gave money, gifts for one of the royal family there.
The Vincentian charism is manifested in serving God and the poor and in supporting those in need. A service that stems from a twofold experience of St. Vincent de Paul, which reached its apex in 1617, a key moment in his life.
It was the year when he was already 36 years old. It was the year when he experienced two incredible, very, very deep moments that started to change his life. And it was in Folleville in January 1617, in a village in France, where he experienced the spiritual abandonment of the people. In that time, priests were in larger cities like Paris, so many, but the villages were abandoned. And he realized the abandonment and said, oh, here we need to do something. The same year, in August, in another village, in another parish, he experienced the physical abandonment of the people. The people that didn't have enough to eat, didn't have enough to clothes, were sick, and that's, in fact, that was the beginning of his own conversion.
St. Vincent's conversion gave life to the more than 150 groups that today make up the Vincentian family. They're different, but united by a common spirit and purpose.
It's a community of priests and brothers. The purpose in the beginning was to give missions to poor people throughout France. Later on, it became an international congregation, even in his lifetime. Later on, in 1633, with St. Louise de Marillac, he founded a community of sisters called the Daughters of Charity. And in the beginning, they were often very simple young women who came together. Many of them, even in his lifetime, didn't know how to read and write. And he and St. Louise de Marillac gave them very good formation, and they became servants of the poor throughout Paris. And they were a revolutionary community because until that time, sisters were confined to cloistered convents. And so they were really the first sisters to be out on the streets and to work in schools and hospitals. And since then, hundreds of communities of sisters have been founded with that same spirit. So the Daughters of Charity became the largest community of sisters in the world eventually. They reached 48,000 sisters, and now they are in about 93 different countries. So he had a great influence.
St. Vincent's example gave rise over the centuries to the complex structure and set of initiatives now known as the Vincentian family.
Vincent said once, I will never dream that something that he realized after years was happening in front of his eyes. He said, if somebody will tell me that I will be here, I will see so many collaborators, I will be the founder of a congregation, he said, I will think that she was teasing me, they were making fun of me. When he started to follow Providence, when he started to follow Jesus' plan, he in fact started lay groups of charity. And this is the first group that we can say part of the so-called today Vincentian family. There are different lay groups, associations, and congregations that today we call Vincentian Family.
It's a vast reality which 400 years after its foundation is known across the globe, in parishes and dioceses, for its good works. The works that have made St. Vincent de Paul a household name. In a few moments, we'll be back with more on Vaticano. The 13 Houses campaign is the name of a recent initiative carried out by the Vincentian family to provide homes for the homeless. A project that has already benefited 10,000 people across the world.
Vincent de Paul in Paris was faced with this sea of homeless young children on the streets, about 1,800 young people and babies that were turning up at the doors of his monasteries and the convents of the Daughters of Charity. And he was aware that he had to do something about responding to this new poverty that had emerged within Paris.
St. Vincent built 13 small houses to care for the abandoned children near the mother house of the Congregation of the Mission at St. Lazare. And that's what inspired today's 13 Houses project. Starting in 2018, the Vincentian family set out to build homes in each of its 156 countries over the next 3 to 5 years.
So far, we've got 51 countries that have signed up to commit themselves to 13 house projects. And they're very different according to different needs around the world. So we focus on homelessness in its broadest context. So we're looking here at refugees around the world, of which there are around about 70 million, currently the highest number ever recorded. We're looking at what we can do to help slum dwellers at around about 860 million people suffering in slums and favelas across the world. And then it's street homeless people as well. So street homeless people who maybe range from 100 to 150 million. We don't quite know the numbers that are out there because only 26 countries in the world actually count street homeless people. So it's very difficult to get a sense of the numbers, but the UN tells us around about 150 million.
With these huge needs, the question is where to start. That's why the Vincentians are working with governments to offer solutions for homelessness, tailored to the local communities.
What we do is we try to look at where we can to bring the different members of the Vincentian family within a locality, within a country together and say, you do the research, tell us what you think unmet needs are, and then where you can, see if you can raise the resources to build some houses or respond to homelessness. If it's a poorer country and they just can't afford to do that, then we ask other members of the Vincentian family from richer countries whether they could show solidarity. So we have a solidarity fund that people can contribute to, and that allows us to do some building work in Africa, in India, in Asia, in Latin America.
A challenge that, addressed by the Vincentian family, can become an opportunity for many people in need of support.
Well, the challenges and the opportunities is what's happening globally at the moment within the Vincentian family, that the old world, the Europe, the United States, where numbers of religious are declining. The challenge is different in Latin America, in Asia, in other parts of the world, where actually the church is growing. And the response is, how do you respond to that growth? How do you provide the intellectual capital? How do you provide the resources that they need to grow and become secure and respond to the poor within their communities?
The 13 Houses campaign's aim is to help end homelessness, one house at a time. And it's just one of the many charitable projects that the Vincentian family brings to the world with a spirit of love and service. Charity is a heavy burden to carry, but you will always preserve your sweetness and your smile. St. Vincent de Paul's own words painted on one of the walls of the Centro Sociale Vincentiano in Rome, in the city's central Prati neighborhood. This social center offers homeless people downtown a place to be, mainly for breakfast and for showers, services that require volunteer labor.
Well, I can tell you how much it has given me by saying that when I don't come here, I miss them, because I really receive a lot from them, even if it seems that I'm doing the work, but actually they are giving. It's really, if you have an open heart and you sort of capture what they give, you capture a lot. They give you a lot. Even just their smile or a kind word, they remember your name. If you approach them with the simple words and a smile, actually, that's how you give, and that's how I receive, with a simple word and a smile from them.
This is a place where so many stories of suffering and hope intertwine. Like the story of Tudor. For almost 20 years, he's been living on the street without a stable home.
I'm not all days happy, because being sick and not having an easy life, a good life, but they treat me well because we have a good relation. Even we are not happy, they said, I'm not happy always, but they treat me well because they never said to me, go home, or I don't like your face.
There are also people who, despite their difficulties, are both recipients of assistance and collaborators in the charitable mission of the Centro Sociale Vincentiano. Arginta Sig is one of them. He's even had the opportunity to meet two pontiffs, St. John Paul II and Pope Francis.
Yes, I had the opportunity to meet the Pope, along with 35 other people, including women and children. When the Pope arrived, we all had the opportunity to shake hands with the Holy Father. The reception lasted about 40 minutes, during which the Pope spoke to everyone. Afterwards, he also visited the canteen, sharing a meal with everyone present. It was a very positive meeting, very joyful for everyone. Before this meeting, 16 years ago, I had already been able to meet John Paul II, and it is an honor for me to have had the opportunity to meet this Pope as well.
The Centro Sociale Vincentiano receives support from the Vatican Office of Papal Charity, which donates food and hygiene products. The center also collects clothing that can be distributed to people living in difficult situations. The Vincentian Social Center also fulfills the message of its founder, St. Vincent de Paul, who said that the poor are our masters, our kings, and works of charity must be carried out with joy, courage, constancy, and love. We'll be back after a short break with more on Vaticano. Just a few miles away from the Vatican, these 2 hectares of land have become a promised land for 12 refugees. Warmed by the Roman sun and animated by chirping cicadas, these gardens are the global headquarters of the St. Vincent de Paul congregation. It's a dream come true for Father Giuseppe Carulli, creator of Mediterranea, a project that aims to integrate migrants through farming. Father says the idea came to him last year. Walking through the spacious grounds, he asked himself, how can this garden be more useful? And soon enough, he'd found the answer. If we give them the chance, asylum seekers and refugees could benefit from this rich soil.
Then the project started. Yet another big challenge was to integrate these guys, because they were coming from Senegal, Rwanda, Mali, Gambia, Mauritius, Nigeria. We also have a young man who even comes from Iran. In total, there are 12 to 9 boys and 3 girls, of whom 2 are young mothers. Initially, they did not know each other. Having seen them here together, the initial fear was that they would not integrate with each other, and it is a fundamental to the project. But they surprised us. A challenge now then has become the greatest satisfaction for us. Now we can say that this group lives like a family, as if they had always known each other.
The project has already borne its first fruits. 25-year-old Angela Okafor is a Catholic from Nigeria.
In this project, I'm in the section of the vegetables, which is called the autos. So I'm helping to, my section is here, so I occupy the space. When the vegetables, when they are ready to be uprooted, I take them.
Thanks to funding from the Vincentians and a refugee cooperative, each migrant earns about $460 a month. The aim is for the project to become self-funding as soon as possible, so the migrants can become self-sufficient.
We started with a fund, with a contribution given to us by the Vincentian missionaries of Italy, with whom we have combined all of this. Now, we are looking for more funds to allow them to continue. In this phase, the members support themselves with the funds of the European Community, which, through the municipality of Rome, issues to them in the form of training internships.
Along with the kitchen garden, they also have workspaces for carpentry and metalworks. Lydia Tropiano heads this section and helps design garden furniture and plant holders.
I'm an interior designer, but also they helped me to build the items till the end. So it was really a teamwork, a perfect teamwork. So we do chairs and tables and vases, and we made them on measurement. So everyone who wants to buy something, we can do it like as he wants.
The motto of the workshop is "Nothing is thrown away." And indeed, old pallets and trimmed branches pass through the creative hands of young Edobor to become flower stands.
Yeah, this wood is a cycle, so we can use it to make a vase, like a pot of flower. God is important in my life, because if it's not God, I'm not to be alive today, because I passed through many things in my life to be here today.
We are a big family and I love it here. It's so important for me to speak with them and to, to open my mind.
To get here is difficult. Yeah, because I have a problem in my country, so I have to leave my country so that I will not die young. So when we get to Libya, everybody knows Libya is a war country. Yeah, you cannot have a free movement like this. Even you can go to the supermarket, you will not come back. So I have to decide, and I make this furniture in Libya. Yes, I make it. So I have to decide I will not die in Libya, so I have to come to Europe to have my own future in my life.
How did you come?
Yes, I come with a boat.
Co-founder of the Mediterranea project, Margherita Grasselli, says stories like Edubor's give her the enthusiasm to continue pushing this project forward.
Every time that I stay here as a volunteer, working with them, sharing lunch and free time also, is very important because you feel that what you receive every day is more than what you give, respecting what you give. I'm sure that staying with them is something that spiritually enriched you a lot, but I would like to transmit, to report this experience to other people, because this project should be an example of what you can do, of what church can do every day and everywhere. This is what is important in my opinion. We cannot be afraid about these incoming people, about refugees, because they are something that can enrich us a lot every day.
The refugee garden also includes a walnut and a citrus grove, a Mediterranean herbs section, and one of the biggest Cosmea flower collections in all of Europe. There are 20 different types ready for sale, and Rafael Agustin is proud to take care of the flower section.
I feel very happy, and not just that. Each time I'm working with these flowers, it's like something in me is very happy, because each time I take a look at these flowers, I get joy from them. Like flowers to me, they are something that adds colors to the nature, so I love working with flowers. They are very beautiful. They make the environment very beautiful, and I love making the environment beautiful, so I love working with flowers. Yeah, I hope for this project for it to grow more, for it to go like worldwide, so everybody will know about it, so people can support the project and they can help us because they can see the beautiful work we are doing, so they can invest on it, so we can make something more beautiful than this.